Robert Jenrick, don't you think, is becoming a rather sorry specimen? In politics, there comes a point when relevance is not earned by ideas, but clawed at through outrage. And that moment has clearly arrived for Robert Jenrick, once touted as a future Conservative leader. Indeed, people in the Conservative headquarters seem to think it's almost inevitable. Now eclipsed by the more headline-grabbing extremism of Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage, Jenrick has resorted to borrowing from the rhetoric of the National Front in a last-ditch effort to remain in the national conversation. It is staggering, his desperation. The speech he gave, or rather the performance he delivered on Sky News, was not just an appeal to populism, it was a dog whistle to grievance politics, and a rather clumsy one at that. Badenoch's commitment to withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights is a decisive moment. I mean, it will never happen under her, because she would be gone long before anything like that happens. But it neuters Jenrick. It robs him of the far-right flank that he's been courting. What could he do? Only one thing: go further. So he did what desperate politicians do. He reached into the racial anxieties drawer and pulled out some crude statistics about Bradford, Luton and Dagenham. He talked about white British populations falling and the pace of change being immense, barely masking a racial logic beneath the veneer of sociological concern. It wasn't subtle. This is the language of the 1970s flag-waving brigades, of the British National Party of the early 2000s, updated with better tailing and a slightly gentler tone of voice. But Jenrick claims all this is about integration. But what does he mean by that? Integration, as any serious scholar or policymaker knows, is a two-way process. You build schools, you fund language programs, you create opportunities for cultural exchange, you support councils and communities, you foster respect. But Jenrick, he paints over murals welcoming refugees, he presides over a Home Office culture of hostility, he reduces the immigrant experience to numbers and threat. To speak of integration while actively opposing every meaningful mechanism for achieving it is the hypocrisy of the highest order. You cannot hound a community and then blame them for not feeling welcome. What is perhaps more revealing is how quickly Jenrick retreats. When challenged about raising the issue of white British decline, he suddenly claims it's not about the colour of their skin, but it is. That was the very frame that he was constructing. He speaks of communities that have changed beyond recognition and laments that the place people once knew no longer exists. This is romantic ethno-nationalism dressed up as a concern for cohesion. And when called out, he backpedals, embarrassed not by the racism of his comments, but by the prospect of being called a racist. The doublespeak is cowardly and dangerous. It gives license to the worst voices while maintaining plausible deniability. And why is he doing this? Because bluntly, he's losing. He's losing. Jenrick has no ministerial portfolio to speak of. He has no traction in the polls to speak of. He's not even... He's been left behind by Badenoch's legal aggression and Farage's theatrical populism. His only currency now is provocation. He's not engaging in a serious debate about immigration or integration. He's waving a flag, screaming, "Look at me," in the hope that the hard right will rally behind him. But even there, he's failing, because where Farage offers comic timing and Badenoch offers legalistic menace and stumbles over her script, Jenrick offers little more than a thinly veiled manifestation of panic. And this should worry all of us, not because the Overton window has shifted, but because serious politicians are now play-acting as extremists to retain the spotlight. We're watching the politics of escalation unfold in real time. We need to reject this trajectory, not for the sake of migrants or ethnic minorities particularly, though of course for them most urgently, but for the soul of British politics. We cannot allow the vocabulary of race and belonging to be twisted by men so desperate to stay relevant that they're prepared to light matches near powder kegs. Robert Jenrick may think he's fighting for the future of his party, but he's torching the very principles that made a civilized society possible. I thought I had contempt I thought I'd reserved contempt for one person or two people, but it seems that at the moment contempt is something that is shared by so many individuals who are pontificating in Westminster. It's a disgrace.